David's close friend and former Labour MP Paula Sherriff joins me now. Very moving speeches, but also what I thought was lovely too, Paula, there was a lot of laughter. There was a lot of laughter as people remembered funny things, and it was very warm. It felt very warm.
Absolutely, and it didn't surprise me that there was so much laughter yesterday, because David was so funny. He was kind, he was generous, he was charming, he was a true gentleman, but he was very, very funny, and he literally lit up a room, Lorraine. He would walk in a room, you would see that amazing smile that seemed to be ever present, and you would never stop laughing when he was around. He was an incredible man. And
that's across the political divide, of course, and very fitting that Southend is going to be a city. I mean, he campaigned for that. He was so passionate about it, wasn't he?
Oh my goodness, he was so persistent. We used to laugh, and I used to have a giggle with him, because there was no debate whether we were talking about foreign affairs or health or business where he wouldn't shoehorn a question in about whether Southend could become a city. And it's certainly a fitting tribute and a fitting legacy to him. It's just, obviously, it's very bittersweet, and it's incredibly sad that, you know, that couldn't have happened when he was alive to see that. But nonetheless, I'm so happy that that's going to happen.
Yeah, especially for his family as well, who have been, Paula, they have been so dignified throughout all of this. I thought the statement they told us about was just incredible, wasn't it?
I cannot even begin to imagine their grief. And he was such a family man. David and I got to know each other when we actually went on a foreign delegation abroad, overseas to the Middle East. And he talked about his children and his wife, Julia, all the time. And their dignity is astonishing. And I send all my love to them. And I hope that in time, the fact that David was so well loved by so many and right across the political divide, I hope that will bring just a little bit of comfort to them.
A lot of people have been talking about his kindness, and he did a lot of this under the radar. We're only finding out about it now. And he was very, very good to you when you went through breast cancer. You know, he very quietly was a source of strength for you, wasn't he? He was really over and above.
Yeah, I was really touched by his support when I was diagnosed with breast cancer, shortly after losing my parliamentary seat in 2020. And he actually went to the trouble of finding out my mum's address. I was staying with my mum after I had my cancer surgery, to send some flowers to me at my mum's address. He would text me regularly to see how my treatment was going. And that was a great source of comfort to me during what was a very, very difficult time.
That's the sign of a true friend. It really is. And like we say, you might have been in opposite ends, you know, in different parties, but it didn't matter. You know, you're human beings, of course. And you were friends as well with Jo Cox. And, of course, this has brought all of that back up again for her family. And it's been very difficult. And you sort of think to yourself, for goodness sake, have we not got any better 5 years down the line?
Absolutely. It's terrifying, frankly. And I think when the news came in on Friday, obviously it did bring back a lot of those awful memories. And it's clear that we have to do far more to keep not just our politicians, but people in public life safe. I think, you know, we all have to reflect on our, including politicians, but we all have to reflect on our tone, our language and our behaviour. And, you know, social media companies need to do much, much more as well. But we also need to see a much more consistent approach from the police and the criminal justice system too.
Very much so. I mean, you yourself, you know, when you were an MP and then indeed afterwards, you've received hate mail, you've received horrible threats. You know, they can get to you, these individuals, and there must be ways round this. I mean, we have to do something to start policing this, but also people just generally have to be a little bit kinder to one another, for goodness sake.
Yeah, and I think if David's death has taught us anything, I think somebody mentioned it in the House of Commons yesterday, that we should all be a bit more like David, because he was so kind. And actually, David was really concerned, and it was something that him and I actually discussed. He was really concerned about the level of abuse, particularly directed at female MPs. You know, I hope that as a result of this, the online harms bill, you know, can get through Parliament, and that can be done on a cross-party basis and bring about some of that meaningful change.
No, exactly. That's what they're calling. Again, what an amazing thing that would be, what a legacy that would be if David's Law, as they're calling it, would actually do that and would tighten things up and make, you know, the world a better place. What do you think that we can all do, though? I mean, what do we take from this? We don't want this just to be something that's happened and then in another few years it happens again. We have to take action, surely. What would you like to see happening right now?
I don't think there's an individual lever that can be pulled that is going to make everything okay. There's certainly no panacea, but I remember when Jo died, for a few weeks after her tragic death, there was a campaign called Love Like Jo, and people were encouraged to, you know, just be kinder and to contact their elected members, even if they didn't agree with their politics, and actually thank them for their service. So I think, you know, for me, we really need to restore that civility back into our society, and I think that can be done through a variety of ways. But like I say, I think it's really important that everybody reflects on their tone, the language and the behaviour too. And I think, you know, David was a wonderful example of that. On paper, you know, perhaps him and I had quite an unlikely friendship. You know, politically we were poles apart, but you know what? He was such a wonderful human. You know, that the politics just weren't so important as to get in the way of a friendship, and I think we can learn many lessons from that.
Absolutely, you are so right. People are so tribal these days, and it's like it's so black and white, and you know, it's brilliant that you met across the divide. I think it's fantastic, and it's the way things should be. Thank you so much for talking to us this morning, Paula, and for remembering a very, very special man. Thank you very much indeed. Don't forget, you can watch full episodes of Lorraine on the ITV Hub, and all the best clips, compilations and playlists right here on our channel. Just subscribe now and you'll never miss an upload. Click here to watch another video similar to this one, or click here to head to our channel's homepage to explore all of our exciting videos.